NBC's Kerry Sanders has the latest on this. Kerry, good morning to you.
Well, good morning, Matt. George and Cindy Anthony have not spoken to their daughter since she walked free from jail. But now, in a revealing interview shot here in Los Angeles, they open up about Casey's lies and actions, divulging family secrets never heard before.
You someone fair or firm?
No longer on the stand and no longer in the courtroom, George and Cindy spoke out for the first time since their daughter Casey's trial.
The last one I saw Kaylee with was Casey.
In an interview with Dr. Phil, the Anthonys began to trace back to where they think things went wrong, where they say Casey's lies began, back to when she hid her pregnancy from her parents for 5 months.
Do you think it odd that she hid that from y'all until that far into the pregnancy?
We asked her even when that happened. I said, why do you tell us?
But they say the lies continued to pile on, perhaps sparked by a family crisis.
Cindy and I had separated for a few months. So I just noticed her not being at the place that she said she was going to be at. Things never added up to me.
The rift between Casey and her parents deepened during that 2006 separation because of George's secret gambling debt.
Everybody felt let down by their dad and kind of betrayed. And the thing that hurt Casey the most was that he wanted us to sell the house and split it up. That Casey felt like he was kicking her and Kaylee out.
My daughter's been missing for the last 31 days.
For the first time, Cindy revealed what happened when she finally confronted Casey after not seeing her granddaughter for 31 days.
I heard her telling me that Danny had kidnapped Kaylee and that she hadn't seen Kaylee for 31 days. My worst nightmare had just unfolded right in front of me.
What did you say to Casey?
I don't know. I just screamed at her. I said, what the hell are you talking about? I said, what do you mean you haven't seen Kaylee? I wanted to go choke her or hit her, and I just went over there and I just punched the bed as hard as I could to get my anger out.
3 years later, Cindy is still trying to figure it all out.
Looking back now, I'm almost wondering if she didn't develop postpartum schizophrenia or some type of issue after her pregnancy.
And an even bigger bombshell.
People don't know she had a grand mal seizure after she came home for the very first time.
Casey, what happened? Come on, back up, better.
Cindy claims it was Casey's second seizure.
Well, she had a seizure in November of 2007. Her ex-fiancé, Jesse Grund, had Casey taken to the hospital for a grand mal seizure.
Well, has she ever been evaluated? Has she had MRIs, CAT scans,
at that time
evaluations? And did they find anything?
Not at that time.
But doctors say grand mal seizures do not directly cause erratic behavior or lies.
If the patient fully recover after a seizure, there shouldn't be any changes in their personality or behavior.
But for the Anthonys, continued questions with no answers.
I don't know why she's having a seizure. Does she have a brain tumor? Were the seizures caused by stress? I don't know what happened, and that's what I want to find out down the road.
Neurologists say grand mal seizures in young people can be caused by a variety of problems in the brain. Head injuries, prior history of infection as a child, even genetics. Matt?
All right, Kerry Sanders in Los Angeles this morning. Kerry, thank you very much. I sat down with Dr. Phil McGraw earlier this week. We started by watching a clip from his interview where the Anthonys talk about their daughter's state of mind after Kaylee's disappearance.
What happened on June 16th? I don't know what happened to her, and was it so traumatic that her whole world went upside down? It was easier for her to believe that Kaylee was with the nanny, to put it aside and go on with her life because she couldn't face the tragedy.
Are you saying she went psychotic and lost contact with reality?
Possibly. I don't know that. But, I mean, something happened that day that forever changed her behavior.
Analyze that a little bit for me.
Well, I think it's denial of the highest order. And I understand her sequence is something happened to Kaylee, and therefore Casey went off the deep end, as opposed to Casey went off the deep end
after doing
and did something to Kaylee.
Well, did you ask them point blank, did they, scale of 1 to 10, what are the chances in their belief system that Casey Anthony in fact killed her daughter?
I did, and I talked to both of them, and with Cindy, she came up with a number of things. She said, I think she's maybe had a brain tumor. And I said, well, did you have her checked for that? Well, yes. Did you do MRI, CAT scan, X-rays, blood work? Yes. Did you find anything? Well, not then. But maybe something because she's had these grand mal seizures that we heard her talk about on day one. It's like I'm going to find some reason to say this was involuntary on her part, whatever it is she did. And so when I confront her with that, she comes up with another excuse.
We've got two people here, George and Cindy. Now, if you and I were to sit here and witness an event right in front of us, we could probably both recount it differently. We would see different things from that. So there are clearly differences in the way they view what happened. Let's take a look at an example, and this concerns that much talked about shovel or the borrowing of a shovel. Take a look.
There was speculation or evidence that was brought about by our neighbor said that Casey had borrowed a shovel from him. If she did, I don't know. That was something that he stated in a statement that he gave to us.
Do you believe she borrowed a shovel?
According to our next door neighbor, that's the statement that he gave.
Yeah, I think she borrowed a shovel.
And what do you think she did with that shovel?
I think she did what she said she did with it. And you might laugh at this, but she needed to cut a piece of bamboo. And the shed was locked once again. Or maybe she used it to try to break into the shed and couldn't do it. I don't know.
On your short list of explanations, you don't include the possibility that she used that shovel to dig a hole in the ground in the woods to bury her dead baby.
How can the answer not be yes to that? That yes, that's on the short list of possibilities.
But it was not. And her reasoning, and this is what I mean, Matt, when I say that I think this is just a mother's denial. She borrows a shovel the day that we now know that her baby died. And we know that the baby was buried less than a mile from the house. And of course she said, well, the neighbor said that he watched her the whole time and she never left, only had the shovel for an hour. George says, wait a minute. The neighbor said he didn't see her the whole time. He didn't stand there and watch her with the shovel. He went on, did what he did, and then she brought it back after a while. It is beyond illogical to not say, I have to consider that that's a possibility. And I think that you'll see this pattern. Was it a grand mal seizure? Was it hormonal? Was it a brain tumor? I think she was cutting down bamboo with a shovel. I mean, the most casual observer would say you must logically
at least open your mind to the possibility, right? How do they feel about the verdict? Do they both agree with it?
They have very different views of the verdict. And in the third show that we do, which comes up next Monday, we talk about the trial, what happened in the courtroom in that moment, what happened when that verdict was read. And I tell you, it is revelatory how they each felt about it. I don't think people will anticipate it, but I think it will tell a lot about what's going on between George and Cindy right now concerning this, and where they would be if Casey showed up on their front porch and said, I'm home, I need a place to stay, which certainly could happen.
We'll have more of that as you continue your exclusive interview with George and Cindy Anthony. Phil, thanks very much. Good to have you here.
Thank you.